One time, while scrolling through the deplorable depths of Instagram Reels, I came upon a man in an outrageous outfit and fez, spouting the most confusing ideologies regarding society and community constructs concerning our current age. I began hysterically laughing before actually finding it quite sad, and earnestly wished to see what people like this could believe. The claim is this: thousands of years ago, an extraterrestrial race called the Anunnaki traveled to Earth from a distant planet, genetically engineered humanity to serve as a labor force, and were responsible for the construction of ancient monuments including the Egyptian pyramids. This theory has spread widely across podcasts, YouTube channels, and social media. It draws millions of listeners, and it is based almost entirely on the work of a single author, whose translations have been rejected by every relevant academic field. This video examines the claims directly and presents what the archaeological and scholarly record actually shows. The modern Anunnaki as aliens framework originates with Zecharia Sitchin, an author who published a series of books beginning in 1976. Sitchin attributed the creation of ancient Sumerian culture to the Anunnaki, which he claimed was a race of extraterrestrials from a planet beyond Neptune, called Nibiru, traveling in an elongated 3,600-year elliptical orbit around the Sun. His books sold millions of copies globally and have been translated into more than 25 languages. They remain the foundational source for virtually every Anunnaki as alien podcast, video, or book produced since. Sitchin's ideas have been resoundingly rejected by scientists, academics, historians, including Sumerologists, Orientalists, and Assyriologists, and anthropologists, who classify his work as pseudoscience and pseudo-history. His work has been specifically criticized for flawed methodology, ignoring archaeological and historical evidence, mistranslations of ancient texts, and incorrect astronomical and scientific claims. The central problem is translation. Dr. Michael Heiser, a scholar of biblical and ancient Near Eastern languages, stated plainly that there is not a source on the planet, from any Sumerian scholar, that would agree with Sitchin's definition of the word Anunnaki. Heiser noted it is not a difficult term, and expressed serious doubt that Sitchin knew Sumerian at all, because getting a term associated with a major group of deities that wrong raises questions about everything else in his work. In actual Sumerian and Akkadian scholarship, the Anunnaki are a group of deities, divine beings associated with the earth and underworld in Mesopotamian religion. They appear in texts alongside other gods. They were prayed to, given offerings, and featured in mythological narratives. There is no scholarly reading of any Sumerian tablet that describes them as biological extraterrestrials. As for the planet Nibiru, Heiser's analysis of the cuneiform record found the term applied to 4 things across all known texts: the planet Jupiter, the planet Mercury, the god Marduk, and a star. One conclusion from the texts is unambiguous: Nibiru is never identified as a planet beyond Pluto. Dr. Heiser, who maintains a detailed, scholarly rebuttal of Sitchin's work, summarizes the situation directly. What Sitchin wrote about Nibiru, the Anunnaki, the Book of Genesis, the Nephilim, and related topics has no basis in the actual data of the ancient world. Sitchin is wrong. The entire edifice of the alien Anunnaki theory rests on a foundation of mistranslation that professional scholars identified and documented decades ago. A central pillar of the ancient astronaut framework is the claim that the Egyptian pyramids could not have been built by humans using the tools and knowledge available at the time. The argument holds that the scale, precision, and speed of construction require an explanation beyond ordinary human capability. This section addresses that claim directly. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built by quarrying roughly 2.3 million stone blocks, totaling approximately 6 million tons, moved into place over an estimated 20 years. No single blueprint survives, but decades of archaeology, physics experiments, and advanced imaging technology have produced a detailed picture of how Egyptian workers accomplished this using ramps, water, copper tools, and large-scale organizational systems. The pyramid shape itself deserves examination. A pyramid is geometrically among the most stable large structures a society can build without advanced engineering knowledge. Each successive layer is smaller than the one below it, meaning the structure is self-stabilizing. The builder never encounters a problem of load distribution that a single flat-roofed or arched structure would present. The design does not require a sophisticated understanding of tensile stress, cantilevers, or load-bearing wall calculations. What it requires is organization, consistent geometry, and sufficient labor, all of which ancient Egypt demonstrably possessed. The precision of the Great Pyramid, its near-perfect alignment to true north, the accuracy of its angles, is often cited as evidence of non-human involvement. However, the Egyptians had surveying instruments. The merket, a sighting tool similar in function to a plumb bob, allowed alignment to stellar positions. Egyptian astronomical knowledge was extensive and well documented. A structure built over 2 decades, with continuous correction and refinement, can achieve remarkable accuracy through iteration alone. On the question of construction method, in 2018, researchers excavating at Hat Nub, a rock quarry in Egypt's eastern desert, uncovered a ramp system dating to approximately 4,500 years ago. Using a wooden sled attached with ropes to posts set into the ramp walls, ancient Egyptians were able to haul stone blocks up slopes exceeding 20%, far steeper than previously assumed possible. Yanis Gordon, co-director of the excavation, noted that this kind of system had never previously been discovered anywhere else. This is direct physical evidence, not theory, of the specific mechanical method used to move stones during pyramid construction. Archaeological sites across Egypt and ancient papyri records document that workers transported materials to the Giza Plateau using the Nile River and a network of artificial waterways, including granite from Aswan quarries over 500 miles away, copper cutting tools from the Sinai Peninsula, and timber from Lebanon. On the workforce, evidence from archaeological excavations suggests approximately 5,000 permanent salaried workers on site, with additional workers rotating in 3 or 4 month shifts in lieu of tax payment. Workers received provisions including bread and beer. Archaeologist Zahi Hawass has suggested a significant portion of the workforce may have been volunteers. The workers' settlement at Giza was a permanent town, not a temporary camp. Archaeologists estimate more than 4,000 pounds of meat from cattle, sheep, and goats were butchered daily to feed the builders. Workers' cemeteries discovered near Giza in 1990 confirmed these were not enslaved people. Skeletal analysis showed evidence of medical care, healed injuries, and nutritional support, consistent with a valued, organized workforce. The archaeological record of pyramid construction is extensive. It includes quarry sites, transport infrastructure, worker settlements, administrative records, and now physical ramp systems. At no point in this record is there a gap that requires a non-human explanation. Proponents of the alien Anunnaki theory often point to Sumerian cylinder seals and relief carvings as depicting spacecraft, astronauts in helmets, and advanced technology. These interpretations are not supported by the scholarly consensus on Sumerian iconography. The Sumerians produced an enormous written record, tens of thousands of clay tablets covering law, commerce, literature, mathematics, and religion. The Enuma Elish, one of the earliest creation myths, describes the Anunnaki in clearly mythological terms as divine beings involved in the ordering of the cosmos and the creation of humans to relieve the gods of labor. This is a religious narrative with direct parallels to creation myths across many ancient cultures. It is not a factual account of genetic engineering. The Lost Book of Enki, which some podcasts present as a primary historical document, is a modern literary work by Zecharia Sitchin himself, written in imitation of ancient Sumerian style, but composed entirely by Sitchin. It is not an ancient tablet, it is not a translation, it is a novel presented with a misleading title. Dr. Heiser noted that the actual cuneiform database is publicly searchable. Anyone can access the texts, look up every occurrence of terms like Anunnaki or Nibiru, and check the translations. He encouraged people to do exactly that, to verify his claims and to verify Sitchin's. The texts are available, the evidence is checkable. This is worth emphasizing. The Sumerian written record is one of the most extensively documented in archaeology. It has been studied by professional linguists for over 150 years. The claim that it secretly describes alien visitation is not a suppressed alternative interpretation. It is a reading that trained scholars have examined and rejected on linguistic and contextual grounds. Beyond the specific factual errors, the ancient astronaut framework presents a structural problem in how it processes evidence. When physical evidence of human construction is found, like the Hat Nub ramp, it is either ignored, or reframed as insufficient. When scholars reject specific claims, as they have uniformly rejected Sitchin's translations, this rejection is reframed as institutional suppression. When no extraterrestrial artifact has ever been recovered at any ancient site, not a fragment of alloy, not a mechanism, not a biological sample, this absence is treated not as evidence against the theory, but as evidence of how thoroughly the truth has been hidden. A theory that cannot be falsified by any evidence is not a historical theory. It is a belief system. The actual history of ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt does not require embellishment. The Sumerians invented writing, codified the first known legal system, developed early mathematics including place value notation, and produced literature. The Epic of Gilgamesh predates Homer by over 1,000 years. The Egyptians developed surveying, large-scale hydraulic engineering, medical practices, and monumental architecture across centuries of continuous institutional knowledge. These are the accomplishments of human civilizations at the height of their development. Attributing them to extraterrestrial assistance does not make the history more interesting. It removes credit from the people who actually did the work. The Anunnaki theory, as presented in popular media, rests on three components: the mistranslations of Zecharia Sitchin, the claim that ancient humans lacked the capability to build monumental structures, and an unfalsifiable framework that reinterprets all contradicting evidence as concealment. Each of these components fails under scrutiny. The cuneiform texts are publicly accessible. The translations are checkable. Sitchin's readings have been compared against the scholarly record and found to be inaccurate at a foundational level. For those interested in pursuing the primary sources, Dr. Michael Heiser's scholarly work is freely available at sitchiniswrong.com. The electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature, maintained by the University of Oxford, provides searchable access to translated Sumerian texts. The Scan Pyramids project offers peer-reviewed imaging data from the interior of the Great Pyramid. Mark Lehner's archaeological fieldwork at Giza is extensively published and accessible through the Ancient Egypt Research Associates. The ancient world, examined on its own terms, is among the most remarkable subjects in human history. The evidence for what ancient civilizations actually achieved is abundant, documented, and available to anyone willing to look at it directly.